Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Magic Mile. New Hampshire Motor Speedway hosts the first of 8 races for the chase for the Winstel Cup. This is the Winstel Cup Series live on ABN Esports 1. Race 17 of the season. 10 drivers begin their pursuit for the Winstel Cup Championship here tonight. At the end of tonight's race, we'll know who's got the upper hand to kick off this 8-race pursuit. Welcome everyone to ABN Esports 1 and ABN Studios coverage of the Winstel Cup Series all season long. I'm Carmen, Sienna. Alongside me, a driver people will be very familiar with on Monday evenings, Blake Henderson, a 3-time HDL Cup Series race winner, the ABN Daytona 500 race winner, here alongside me. Very interesting race we have coming up here, a very short race, going to be dynamic in how this race plays out as 10 drivers try to mix it up and battle for a race win, kick off their chase ambitions. Blake, you've had a chance to watch some of these drivers mix around and figure out this racetrack. Some drivers doing a lot better than others. What's sticking out in your mind right now as we look forward towards qualifying here coming up here in just a couple minutes, as far as who has the upper hand and who should be a favorite here this afternoon?
Yeah, before I get into those points, I wanna make a note that all those accolades that you listed off for me happened many years ago, so that's why I'm in the booth and not on the track right now. This race is the Magic Mile. A lot of magic moments happen here. What a fitting way to start off the chase for the Winstel Cup Championship. A lot of different lines being ran. Winstel brought a package here that they hope to make this famously one-line track operate in multiple lines. And you've seen here in the few shots, you have people trying to shoot it to the apron, cutting it down on exit, running it really wide in order to get a great exit, running that standard line. They're going to be all over the place tonight, and those restarts are going to be wild.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to be insane. We're looking right now. That's Larry Pace in the 98 and Corey Steinhauser in the 34. We're going to see them try to mix it up here. Larry Pace has had phenomenal pace here over the last few weeks, trying to keep that together here as he moves his way forward. And you see him immediately go from the inside lane to the outside lane. You mentioned that package is going to try to generate new lines, new lanes for running here, try to diversify this track. This is a sprint race for all intents and purposes here tonight. 60 laps. A very short race. Typically, you look at a normal race distance that we have here on ABN for New Hampshire. Typically, it's about 150, 160 laps. It's a third of that, basically, here tonight. So these drivers need to be correct from the get-go here tonight. There's some drivers, obviously, that stand out here at New Hampshire better than others, statistically speaking. You look at drivers like Christian Budd, who came in as the regular season champion, comes in as the points leader with 5,000 points in the chase. We'll pull that up in just a second after qualifying's over to kind of walk through who's who in that championship conversation. He's going to be someone to keep an eye out for. He's been someone to look out for all season long. That 17 DeWalt Ford should be a contender again here tonight. So should one of the spoilers, Zach Campbell in the 39 car. He is also present here tonight. He's going to try to make some magic happen here in New Hampshire. We've got 33 cars present to get ready to take tonight's racing to the track. You're looking at 49 of Griesbaum right now. The slowest of all the drivers, but also the one driver that's getting to set a lap time on track. There's Tyler Head, the 4 car, the defending series champion. Squeaked into the playoffs by thin some margins here. Now he's got a chance to go back-to-back. No one's done so in modern Winstel history. 11 starts for him. Good.
It's all about getting hot at the right time when it comes to this chase format. It's just like the MLB playoffs, NBA playoffs, whatever playoffs you can imagine. If you were the best driver all season long, does not matter. You have to show up when it counts, and these last 8 races are when it counts. So just because he struggled in the regular season and barely made it in does not mean he's not any less of a threat if he came in ranked number 1.
And to kind of extend on that point, Tyler Head, he didn't just barely squeak in because he struggled. He barely squeaked in because he missed 5 races. He's a part-time driver for all intents and purposes, but that kind of speaks to how good he has been this season. 11 races, again, 16 races in the regular season. He missed 5. One of the races he won. Dominating fashion. He also has multiple top 5s and top 10s to his record there. Another driver that looked really good and has looked really hot here is Dylan Roberts. 16 starts, every race start so far, 2 wins, including in the last 4 races. 5 races outside the top 10. He has been consistent, and now he's finding his way towards the front of the field. He's someone to keep an eye out for. I think that 8 car is tremendous here, and he could be tremendous again here tonight. We'll focus on the opposite side of things. A driver we expected to be fantastic here as practice comes to an end. Emily Howe, not even top 20 in the practice times there. That's concerning if you're someone like Emily Howe, who was entering the season, or entering the chase top 5 in points. Right now, last of the chase drivers going into qualifying.
And one driver I really want to look at here is Jose Solis Jr., who won. He's the defending race winner here in Loudon, and he has an opportunity to make a really good start to his chase, as it's all about momentum. And what a way to start by winning the first race. And can he go back-to-back at Loudon? If he does so, and even race as well, he's going to find himself in a great opportunity to win this championship.
Absolutely. Right now we're looking as qualifying begins. Nicholas Doucette only missed 1 race. He's got 2 race wins. He's another driver that turned it on late in the regular season. We'll see him be one of the first ones to set a qualifying lap time here. Again, 5 minutes for everyone to set a qualifying lap time. 32 drivers will take the attempt to qualify. So we're going to see everyone have a chance to set those lap times. Doucette trying to stay low to the racetrack here. Remember, there's only 1 qualifying lap here in the Winstel Cup Series. It's a one-shot qualifying effort, so just like with the race, that's going to be very, very abbreviated. You cannot make mistakes here in qualifying. Doucette just really high up the racetrack, 3 and 4, to complete his lap time, and he's very loose. Goes almost to the inside wall. He does set the first lap time of the session, but we're going to see a shifting of where everyone's going to sit. Now you're looking at the number 46 car rolling out onto the racetrack, Jacob Poltak. Part-time driver, only 4 previous starts this season. He's not a rookie. He's been in previous seasons of the Winstel Cup Series, but he's always been on a part-time basis. His best finish, a top 10 back in Martinsville last season. We're right on board with him in his number 46 Dodge, as Christian Budd takes the top time. Doucette, as bad as we thought his lap time was, enough for the front row at the moment. Emily Howe fighting in and qualifying up to 4th at the moment. Let's see where Poltak goes.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of drivers in practice really struggle out of 4 and out of 2, but specifically out of 4, people have been able to let the car hang loose, but yet still maintain that time.
See Poltak taking it very easy out of turn 4. They're tiptoeing around. This is not going to probably be the fastest lap time, but it's not going to be horrible either. Let's see what lap time he pulled as we now look at Parker Alexander, one of the last ones to set a qualifying lap time here that's in the chase. 14 starts, no wins to his collection, but 9 top 10s, 4 of those are top 5s. He's someone that's kind of struggling in this middle stanza of the season as we begin the chase. His lap time, let's see where he goes on the board. We have Jose Solis Jr. to also set a lap time here, and there he is. Driver you said to look out for in this race. Let's see where he's at. He's got 2 wins this season. Does he go to the top of the board as Poltak went fastest? Find out where Solis goes. I believe he's just now starting his run. Nope, he's finishing his run now. I do believe. No, no, that's just his actual line. Never mind, excuse me. So this is going to be interesting. And that's the lowest I've seen someone run. He's running low on both sides of the racetrack. He is sending it.
Yeah, Winstel was hoping they could bring a package that had a lot of lines that were viable, and it looks like they might have one to make the Magic Mile be a multiple lane track.
And Solis Jr. goes front row behind Jacob Poltak. So the 46 of Poltak, despite what we thought was potentially a slow lap there, just because he was a lot more cautious out of the exit of turn 4, actually ended up being the fastest to go running. Corey Steinhauser in the 34, Zach Campbell among those that have yet to set qualifying times here. They may elect to start at the back of the field because of how chaotic this race is expected to be. As we mentioned at the top of the show, expected to see multiple lanes here. But we'll go over and start with the points as we wait for some of those to run qualifying lap times. As I mentioned, Christian Budd, top of the board entering today's race. He was the regular season champion. He starts with that even 5,000 point buffer. Dylan Roberts, second in points over Gabriel Mauricio, the Daytona 500 winner from back in February. Emily Howe sitting top 5 in the points, sitting 4th ahead of Jose Solis Jr. Blake Henderson's pick right now to be a favorite to win this race. Solis in 5th, ahead of Nick Doucette, Sean Peleg, Brennan McGee, Parker Alexander, and last but not least, the defending champion Tyler Head a who's who of that championship top 10 looking into this race. Again, 8 races to determine a champion. Tyler Head's been here before. Christian Budd has been a former champion in this series as well. We're going to figure out who's got the magic here. Jose Solis Jr. will be the top qualifier of those 10 chase competitors so far. Jacob Potak, 5th race of the season for him. He's going to qualify top of the board. It has Jose Solis Jr., Christian Budd up there as well. Nick Doucette, Evan Locke has made his way into the top 5. Philip Snipes, keep an eye on that 19 car. He has struggled all season long. May have found his form here at the weirdest track of them all. The Magic Mile is called that for a reason. Maybe a miracle for that 19 car to play spoiler here tonight. Emily Howe, Tyler Head, Larry Pace, and Kyle Benson round out your top 10. So a lot of chase drivers, they're up there for a reason. You see the cream of the crop rising up as you look further throughout the order. Blake, who, obviously you said Jose Solis Jr., a contender to go back-to-back here in New Hampshire. Beyond Solis, who sticks out to you as a driver that either has performed well so far or underperforming based on qualifying results here?
I look at Zach Campbell, who didn't set a time, as a driver I had pinned to have a really good night, as he is the only driver, or one of 2 drivers, to finish top 5 at both trips that Winstel's made to New Hampshire, and he's all the way down in 28th. So he has a lot of work to do really early here for a guy that I pinned to be really good. And with only 60 laps, this is not like 160 laps like you see in real life. There's not a lot of opportunities to make mistakes, and he's already on the back foot to start this race.
Absolutely, 60 laps to try to make up 27 spots if he wants to contend for a race win. Keep an eye on the 39 car, because if there's someone that can do it, it is Zach Campbell, but he's going to have a lot of work to do as we zoom out and look just at the full spread of New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Located in rural New Hampshire, it is the furthest north racetrack that the Winstel Cup Series visits. It's a few hours north of Watkins Glen International Speedway. So we're going to see here going into this race, again, just how scenic this racetrack is. Who's got the magic touch here? Jacob Potak had it in qualifying. So you've made a couple of picks here as far as drivers that you think could be contenders here. Do you think Jose Solis Jr. is your pick to win? We'll go ahead and sort of dissect this, because usually we kind of come in here just as spectators, we don't really know. You've got a little bit more experience behind the wheel of these cars. Is Jose Solis Jr. your pick to win, or do you have someone else that also played dark horse here?
I am going with Jose Solis Jr. as my pick to win. And you can go simply on the fact that I've broadcasted one previous Winstel race, and Jose Solis Jr. was the winner of that race. So, and he's starting P2 front row, and at a race that's really short and you can't make a lot of mistakes, it's not a bad pick.
I'm gonna play spoiler here a little bit. I think Christian Budd. Here's why. Obviously, we talk about the beginning of the race being so important. Jose Solis Jr. loves that inside lane. He's not gonna have an immediate chance to get through that inside lane. If Potak has an issue and can't get there, Christian Budd has the ability to make the 2-for-1 pass early. Passing is difficult here. We've not seen how easy it is to make passes if you're on the back foot trying to make up ground. We'll see that throughout this race. But I'm going to pick Christian Budd here. 3 wins, 3 poles, almost perfect in the top 10 percentage ratio here. I'm going to go with him just because he has the ability to play opportunist here. There's nothing wrong with being a vulture and just picking up the pieces when something goes wrong at the front of the field. This is an unknown with Potak and Solis at the front of the field. I'm excited to see what happens here at the start, but don't rest on the 17 here.
I do want to apologize to the 29 and 17 for us giving them the broadcaster's curse.
Absolutely, we're going to ride on board with Christian Budd as the green flag flies. We're racing here for the Sylvania 300. Potak, a fantastic start. Christian Budd slipping just a little bit. Solis has the ability to now sweep to the inside lane for a moment. If he can stay clear of that 17 of Budd. Budd now leading the inside lane as we filter into turns 3 and 4. You see Solis goes immediately to the yellow line. He's going to try to push the 46 up. 46 stays firm in the middle of the racetrack outside of turn 4 to finish lap number 1. And they're still side by side. Look how side by side they are, 2 by 2, all the way down the field as Solis uses all of the apron. He's happy to get to use all of that. Potak using the outside lane for momentum here. Try to hold on to the race lead. He's going to get back through the 29. You talk about the different lanes. These tires will burn quickly here. You look at the different lanes being run. How much of a factor is that going to be for Jose Solis Jr. as he tries to keep attacking the 46 Potak?
It's going to be huge if he can't get past Potak really quick here. He's going to struggle more and more as laps go on, because if you look at the line he is running, he's shooting down to the apron. That difference in banking that he's running, with already just so much pressure on the right sides, changing the banking mid-corner multiple times like he's doing, is going to absolutely shred your tires. So, and he's struggling early to get around. And if he can't get it done quick, and if he keeps racing like this, I find it hard to believe he's going to keep this position.
We're trying to keep on that quarter panel of Potak in the 46. As you look a little bit further back there, Inley Howell losing spots early as well. Christian Budd's lost one spot. He's lost out to the person he started alongside with, and that was Nick Doucette. Doucette up to third. He's doing fantastic so far in the early running. Driver still where he was. Here as caution comes out for the first time tonight.
Stephen Brown.
And it's for Steve Brown. Yeah, you are correct on that. We'll see a replay here momentarily. It looks like that car is relatively okay. Looks like it could have just been a spin around here. Looks like there was some damage on the rear of that car. But we'll take another look here as we'll see what happens to the 43 Steve Brown. Steve Brown, obviously one of the rookie contenders of the season, kind of jumped in mid-season here, and he was mid-pack. Looks like he was behind Mauricio. Did he get help from Sean Palek? No, he helped Mauricio around and spun himself out, trying to lay off of him, and there's some damage there. That's why the damage came from Mo Perry in that 12 machine. Almost had it saved, but unfortunately when everyone fans out, you run out of real estate to have anywhere to go, and Mo Perry did everything he could. We're on board with Perry, and you'll see just how difficult it is to avoid, even with how wide the corners are here. 5 lanes theoretically that you can run. When the spin happens right there, Perry locks it up. Yeah, then you're kind of just a passenger at that point, and Perry kind of realized where he was sitting at that point in time. No fast repairs, so they got to go in and get that damage repaired. Hopefully it doesn't seriously affect Perry or Steve Brown. You saw the 32 of Matt Taylor in pit lane as well. He was not involved in that caution, but coming down and taking some tires, because why not? You're sitting near the back of the field. Why not try to get that tire advantage when you've got the chance to? So first caution of the night comes out in the first 10 laps here in New Hampshire. It's Potak, Solis, Doucette, Budd, and Evan Locke in their top 5 here in New Hampshire. We've seen a little bit so far. Now drivers get a chance to really just digest what they've learned in the opening laps here for Jose Solis Jr. That inside lane has not worked for him to get to the front of the field. Seems like he's possibly making himself more vulnerable to Doucette. And if you're in his seat, obviously race winner here, trying to go for a 3rd race win this season. The inside lane's not working. How do you figure out how to make that inside lane run, or how do you pivot away from the inside lane to try to get to the race lead?
This is what you have to do. If I were in his book and had the amount of talent that he does, which is more than me, yeah, I would have to sit behind the 45 or the 46 and sit on his rear bumper every single corner and apply the most amount of pressure possible. Force him into a mistake. He's not as experienced as Solis Jr. is. Force the driver into a mistake, because I feel like at the front, that is really one of the only ways to pass here. As I saw in practice, they'd made multiple pack runs, and you were able to pass pretty easily when it was 5th on back. But when it came to the top 3 especially, they kind of ran away and were stuck to being single file. So I feel like you just have to force the 46 into a mistake here, and that might be the way that the 29 can get around. But he has to keep far up enough that people behind him don't pass him for lacking.
It's going to be very interesting to see if Solis can make anything happen. Single file restarts here for the Winstel Cup Series. Just a reminder, obviously, how short this race is. If this is a calamity-filled event, there are just one attempt at a green-white checkered finish. That is the point of no return. So we'll see how that all goes here this evening. We're getting ready to go back racing here to begin lap number 8 here in New Hampshire. It is Potak, Solis, Christian Budd, your top 3. Sorry, Nick Doucette, Christian Budd, Evan Locke, your top 5. Nick Doucette in 3rd place, going to try to play opportunist. If a mistake happens for one of these top 2 drivers, they had a very good getaway first time around, but now Solis has to rely solely on the 46 in front before he can make any moves here. Pace car takes the left-hand road down pit lane. It is on Potak's control. Green flag in the air, and away we go once again. Potak now with a little bit of space. You saw their onboard Nick Doucette immediately under fire from Christian Budd through turns 1 and 2. Restarts are where the magic can happen here, and you're seeing that 3 wide, further behind, near the fringe of the top 10 as they exit turn 2. But the front of the field still single file for the first 2 cars, as Solus tries to send it to the inside lane. Potak gives him plenty of space because the outside lane is king in defending position, and you're seeing that both from the 46 and the 24 as they come around to start lap number 9 here in New Hampshire. Potak with a 2 lead.
With clipping the grass when he's clipping the apron there. It's kind of insane to watch, and I do not know how he's keeping a hold of that car.
Obviously, Solus trying to find every way around here, and obviously he's the only one really running that low on the racetrack. It is completely legal in Winstel competition, similar to how it would be if series like HGL or ARCS came to New Hampshire as well. But Solus isn't making any ground. You're seeing he's actually losing space as they get up to the straightaway. Potak has that outside lane pretty well covered, and he's gaining more momentum. The unspoken secret to making the inside lane work, it's the shortest way around, but you have to slow down more to hold it. You're seeing issues. See if you can figure out who that is. That was the 19 of Philip Snipes, who was in the top 10, got loose out of turn 2. He is finding the balance issues all over that dodge. As one dodge leads the way, the other finding a lot of struggles here. We stay green, no issues there for the 19 other than losing a bunch of spots and now being further back in traffic. But now he's under attack with the 25, Alex Bates, and the 33 of Tyler Murray as they go through turns 1 and 2. Also just in that group is the 00 Christina Ryan, who missed out on the chase, moved down to a part-time status. Now trying to race at the Magic Mile, just trying to play spoiler a little bit, have some fun here for 60 laps. She's just on the fringe of the top 20 there at the moment. As you see even more 3-wides further back, you see that's what the 39 is, that Campbell is, that target machine. There's 2 of them in the field, so it's going to be a little bit confusing as we talk about the 39, and I think the 41 is also present in the field here. But they're further back in the running order, as Philip Snipes now has to deal with the 1 of Jonathan Hernandez. There's the 41 and the 39. The 39 Campbell's further up the road here, but they're dealing with Larry Pace and company. And there's the 0 of Corey Cook as well, who just barely missed out on the chase with Winstel Cup in the previous round back in Bristol. As everyone cycles through here again, back and running at full song here. Everyone's spreading out just a little bit as tires begin to wear. Obviously, a lot of the field did not pit in that first set of pit stops there under that caution on lap 6. Dylan Roberts here, just outside the top 10, it looks like here. Into this race, second in points, alongside Sean Peleg, sitting right now in 12th position. He's up 1 spot. Here's Emily Howe just up in front of them, I believe, sitting in 10th, because there's Gabriel Mauricio in 11th. And then you have Christian Poe, I believe that was the 51, just ahead of them as well. So some interesting faces inside and outside the top 10 at the moment. And again, we're approaching the quarter waypoint in this race. Tires are going to become crucial here, as they always are. You've obviously seen a couple of these Winstel races, Blake. How do you manage tire wears at these cars? These cars, some of the most powerful we've seen on AV screen, 750 horsepower behind these Gen 4 machines, as we watch Emily Howe just sit inside the top 10. How do you take care of your equipment? Because it seems like everyone's kind of just going for it.
Don't do what the 15 is doing right now. Running the apron at New Hampshire is a surefire way to absolutely obliterate your tires. As really
point proven there to you. You see just trying to how much out of the balance shifts when you try to use the apron there. Almost spun it out. You say don't use the apron. What makes the apron so different? You talk about the transition between the apron and the track. It's not a lot here at New Hampshire. It's that flat track, often to a lot of drivers' chagrin, how flat this racetrack is. What makes that so different?
Part of it is that yes, the track itself does not look like it has a whole lot of banking, but going from about 9-degree banking to 0-degree banking is a lot, and you feel it as a driver. You're really only down there to get yourself some clean air and maybe try to shoot ahead of the guy you're trying to fight so you can get in front of them on the straightaway. And another reason is that you see not a lot of people are running it. There's not a lot of rubber down on the apron. As you see, it's completely white, while the lower part of the turns are darker with all the tire rubber being laid down, and that's going to give you more grip.
Obviously, you see a few cars trying it. Philip Snipes trying it. There's that Campbell. We saw that one of the target cars there. That was the 39 Campbell, trying to flirt with that that apron on the entry to 1 and 2, trying to make things happen there as Peleg still trying to defend from Gabriel Mauricio as they keep battling out. Zach Campbell, you said one of the drivers to look out for was that 39 car. He is on a charge now. He has found a way to hook up that inside lane in a way that no one else has so far. From 28th to 18th, 10 spots gained so far the 39 car. We talked about it being a short race. He's already gained 10 spots. He's ahead of schedule right now from where he was supposed to be. Obviously, part-time driver, you see the stats at the bottom of your screen. 6 starts, 3 poles, he's got a race win. Almost perfect in the top 5. All his top 10s are top 5s. So he's usually pretty good at making that work. He's the only driver. You see the space everyone's giving him to run that apron as well. He is hooking it up on the inside there at 3 and 4. It looks like that's the magic turn for him. Is the traffic helping him out? Because we see the difference between him and Emily Howe and Jose Solis Jr. They're struggling to make that inside lane work. Is the traffic on the outside helping Campbell right now make up those positions?
It absolutely is. As you see, there's really no one in front of him when he's running that inside line, so he can shoot it in as hard as he pleases, while these people on the outside that are running lines that are being ran, they can't run it as aggressively as they'd like to. There's a large gap between him and the next person running that apron, so he can run it just like it's a qualifying lap. But the people that on the outside are dealing with dirty air, and they're dealing with somebody in front of them, so they're automatically going to have to adjust their lines based off of what the people in front of them are doing. With most people running that outside line, you really have to make adjustments, where he can just run practice lap after practice lap after practice lap, because it's the same thing for him every time.
He's obviously making up ground doing that as we see the battle for the top 10. This is Chris Champeau, Emily Howe, both of them sitting just ahead of Dylan Roberts here, trying to catch up. That is the 38 just ahead there of, I'm trying to remember top of my head, the 38, Kyle Benson. There you go. For a moment I had it, it was off the top of my head and I lost there. Dylan Roberts there, obviously struggling to try to get around these 2 cars, Champeau and Howe, as Kyle Benson sits in the 38 to 51, just between this group of cars, trying to hold on to the top 10 spots the best he can. He goes to the apron to block off the 15, as Emily Howe tries to make him passing clear. Chris Champeau almost does, but then gets loose and immediately has to deal with Champeau again on the outside lane. Not as much side drafting here as we see sometimes on board with Ryan Hill, the 51 car, sitting right now in the 8th spot, looking back at 9th and 10th in his mirror full of these 2 cars just behind him. He's doing a really good job. Very limited starts here for Ryan Hill in the Winstel Cup Series. And you see Emily Howe trying to make a move here to get to 8th. Remember, she entered this race 4th in the points to start off the chase. Right now, she's going to gain some spots, gain some positions in the standings. It's all about minimizing the gap and minimizing the loss to the drivers like Jose Solis Jr., like Christian Budd, that are sitting right now in the top 5 and still just struggling here. This is their traditional New Hampshire struggle that we see. Obviously, multiple lanes. You're seeing drivers run multiple lanes, no problem. And that's sort of what we were expecting. Doesn't make it easier to pass. You've given them the tools. Now they've got to actually work forward to it. And you're seeing Emily Howe, after 7 laps, just now get a nose ahead of the 51 of Ryan Hill. Parker Alexander now in the mix as well, because Dylan Roberts can't make any moves. Christian Post stuck. Now Parker Alexander goes and flirts with that apron for a minute, can't make it stick. Emily Howe straddles that yellow line, trying to get clear of 51 to take 8th place away. Parker Alexander loses that 12th spot immediately once again to Dylan Roberts as they continue to struggle once again with that dirty air. And look just behind. That is the 13th spot right there of the 39 of Zach Campbell. He is making up a lot of headway here. When do you expect Campbell to start having issues getting around drivers? Is he at that point now where he's going to stall out?
He's getting really close, because as you see, Emily Howe, who is no slouch, has really struggled getting by these drivers she's been racing with. It's been about 7, 8, 9 laps, and she just cannot make any inroads. And he's about to start dealing with what she's dealing with. There's more people running his line in front of him now. I talked about it earlier. He had a large gap in front of the person that was running his line, so he could run it however he wanted to. Now he's getting to the point where he can no longer do that, and he's going to be experiencing the same struggles as the people in front of him trying to run that apron.
Emily Howe got clear of the 51 of Ryan Hill and tried to send it to cut, really just close the gap there on the 38 of Kyle Benson. Benson sitting in the 7th spot. Emily Howe up to 8th and firmly in 8th now as Ryan Hill struggles now to just hold on to the top 10 for what it's worth. Already outside of it now. He's been passed by Roberts and Alexander, but he's held up Chris Champeau. That Cam was mentioned at 13th. Emily Howe now having to try to make her way into the top 5 if she can. There are still supposed to be green flag pit stops in this race. Obviously, at the breakneck pace that they're running at the moment, they're not going to hold at least on the tire life at all. Looking at the front of the field, it's still the 46 and the 29, but look at the gap that they've opened up over Nick Doucette, over Christian Budd, Evan Locke and company. It is these two now on an island. Jacob Potak, to his credit, we've not seen him be a competitor like this in force. He is holding off one of the most aggressive drivers in the field very easily so far, just by running his typical line. Jose Solis Jr. has not been able to match him at all. Now he's trying to shadow him. You mentioned on that restart, try to shadow the 46, try to pressure him. Solis tried that entering turns 1 and 2. I had to deviate away from that and try to use the apron on the exit. But Potak running the outside lane, just keeping himself at arm's distance, almost, to use the boxing analogy, me and Kevin Young, a couple of us use boxing analogies a lot, almost like throwing a jab, keeping things distant. Solis Jr. sends it through 3 and 4. Potak really loose. This is Solis' chance, though. That was a lot of counter steering down the front straight away. That was Solis' chance, but now Potak's going to use the outside lane to generate that momentum again and keep Solis from clearing. This is going to be close. Ooh, still side by side down the back straightaway.
And it's worth noting, in the last race up broadcast for this series, Jacob Potak made his announcement that he was a good driver and he's worth taking seriously at the Brickyard. And who did Potak get beat by? That was the 29 of Solis Jr. As Potak comes to the pits, he does not want to get beat by the 29 again.
Absolutely. Potak comes down. He realizes that those tires are wearing a little bit. Jose Solis Jr. now has the track to himself, but you see the ghost has been given up and multiple drivers coming down pit lane. Zach Campbell with the undercut. Sean Pele. That was Kyle Benson. There's the 41 in pit lane as well. Both tire cards are in. Solis has to respond. Surely he's got to respond, but he's got the clean track. He's got the clean air. He's going to have to judge for himself where he's at. He's going to come down pit lane this time.
Yeah, shaking out eerily similar to Indianapolis. It was the show of can Solis respond to Potak's aggressive pit strategy, and he's doing the same thing here. Was the one lap enough for Potak to jump out in front of Solis? We'll have to see.
Obviously very easy to have a speeding penalty here as well at New Hampshire. One of the slower pit lanes, 40 miles an hour. It's a very excruciating pit lane. Importantly, Jacob Potak did not go a lap down in that exchange. Nick Doucette, now the race leader at the moment, he's expected to come down pit lane too.
39 of Zach Campbell was caught speeding on pit road along with the 49 of Andrew Griesbaum.
And Griesbaum for speeding from insult to injury there because he was not fast. He was not up in the top 10 at all. Zach Campbell, though, that puts a hamper on his hopes of making it into the top 10 here. I mentioned speeding, a very big thing. You're 40 miles an hour. The only track slower on the calendar would have been Dover, 35 miles an hour for the pit lane speed. Christian Budd could not pit last time because Nick Doucette was to his inside. Does he come down pit lane this time? Yeah, he does, right in front of Kyle Benson. Kyle Benson already made a pit stop. Remember, he came in the same lap as Jacob Potak did. Emily Howe in pit lane, same with Evan Locke, and they've got some space to make some pit stop magic happen as Chris Champeau leads pit lane as well now. So a large pit window here. Now, interestingly here, some of the drivers that pit on the opening caution there on lap 6, they can stay out those extra few laps here. For those that obviously did not come down pit lane, this was a matter of trying to just make the window and get to the rest of the race because they had assistance saving fuel from that caution early on. That's the only caution we've had so far in this race, knock on wood. Now we have to see how it plays out here. The longer you go without making that pit stop on the early caution, the better you are at this point. Brendan McGee, now the leader in the cycle through here. He came down pit lane earlier in this race, so he has the ability to go into lap 38, 39 and really make that shortened second stint under this green flag here. He's hoping for a caution is what he's really hoping for here, but I don't think he's going to get it, as I believe he's going to go ahead and bail early here and save himself from being undercut too awful significantly because, again, he's looking mostly at trying to just manage the damage limitation. He was 19th for this pit stop window.
And looking at the eventual battle for the lead, Potak's undercut did not work as Solis did get ahead of him, and it did not help Potak's campaign for the lead as he struggled to get ahead of Andrew Griesbaum, who was a lap car that had a speeding penalty. So the undercut did not work here. Solus comes out of the pits with the eventual lead.
Obviously now you have a lot of drivers dealing with traffic. This is Ryan Hill, the 51. He was obviously struggling there, but stayed out. He's leading some laps here. Bonus points do matter, even if you're not in the top 10. The goal now for everyone is trying to get top 35 in points to lock yourselves into next season's top 35 in points. Ryan Hill obviously has a limited schedule here. He's going to go for every point that he can. Leading a points, 5 laps. Leading the most laps is 5 points. And then I think pole position is also 5 points. So you've got some decent bonus points there. And obviously we know that Jacob Potak already got leading a lap in pole position. So Ryan Hill just kind of going for it at the moment. He comes down pit lane and moves it on to the 32. And we're going to see what he can do here from 18th to 1st. Matt Taylor, the Chevrolet driver. We've seen him with some oddball strategies before, but now he's going to have a chance to really kind of lead on his own. Again, not a contender for the race win at the moment. He was just, at this point, just trying to get some extra points here on his side. But right now he leads. He's got a decent gap right now over Steve Brown, Mo Perry, who came down on lap 6, and then Jose Solis Jr. These are the drivers that came down pit lane under that caution. They're going to be able to stay out longer. We could see, again, lap 38 is when we're expecting some of these drivers to come down pit lane. They could go to lap 40. Again, their objective is just kind of hold off and wait as long as possible and hope that a caution comes out, because, again, anything can happen here at New Hampshire. It's been a handful for just about everyone here so far at the Magic Mile.
I will say I do not like this strategy for the top 3, as even, a caution doesn't come out, which is the realistic scenario we're working with here. Even if you have that 10-lap fresher tires, I just don't think you have enough time to make up the positions you lost by staying out late. And on top of that, it's just so hard to pass. I don't know if you're going to make up many positions at all with just a 10-lap tire difference.
It's going to be difficult, absolutely. You see Steve Brown and Mo Perry in your screen, the 43 of Brown, the 12 of Perry. Second and third right now on the track. They're still going to make a pit stop here at some point here in the next few laps. They've already gone into the pit window that was expected of them. When they come down pit lane is going to be completely up to them at this point. They know where they're at. And it's going to eventually cycle back to Jose Solis Jr. looking for another race win and really to kind of stamp his position in the championship running order to kick off the chase for the Winstel Cup here. There's again the race leader Matt Taylor in the 32 car. He's got a decent gap right now. Again, only one caution in this race, which again, we were kind of expecting things to be a little bit more frantic. It has been frantic, but it's also been pretty controlled, pretty collected as far as what we've been seeing so far here in New Hampshire. Matt Taylor, again, just trying to use some different strategies. See Jose Solis Jr. coming up on slower traffic. These are lead lap cars that will not give Solis any wiggle room here. This could be a chance for Jacob Potak to really get himself back into this fight for the eventual lead of the race. Mo Perry struggling, also having a little bit of latency issues. He's not going to be a factor for Solis. He's going to get around him pretty easily there. Solis, this is where the inside lane helps him. He's got fresher tires. Steve Brown can't hold the inside lane like that. Solis will also have to try to rely on that, but Steve Brown does cover off the inside lane and forces Solis out wide because Steve Brown's coming down pit lane this time.
Yeah, and they gave it a fair shot. I will give the 43-12 that. That is about the only strategy you can really pull if you are stuck mired back in the back of the pack. This is about all you can do. But Matt Taylor is still staying out, and at the very least, we get to see this beautiful tight car get some TV time.
Absolutely, Matt Taylor obviously doing a fantastic job, just leading the way at the moment, just kind of chipping away laps here, which is always nice to have the race lead, just to see your car number on the scoring pylon. I think both of us have been in that position throughout our careers. Matt Taylor obviously no different in that, seeing the 32 on the top of the scoring pylon. Obviously going to be nice. 14 starts. He's been a full-time driver. Only one top 5, one top 10. A caution at this point would have bailed him out big time because he would have had a chance to retain some of those spots. But again, right now I think that we're almost running 10 laps now that he's been out in front of the field. So a respectable run so far for him. And he's still got some space. He could definitely try to sort of just kind of eke this out a little bit. Corey Cook behind him there in the 0 car. So not immediately under pressure from Solis. But I would say you might want to come in sooner rather than later. Otherwise, you risk going a lap down to Solis. That's where Perry and Steve Brown sort of sit at the moment. is
The yellow flag
they
is out.
eventually could go a lap down here. See Matt Taylor, you see almost a full straightaway.
Caution's out.
Wow. Caution is out. Sean Peleg, you see him in the middle of the racetrack. Matt Taylor's best friend right there.
I would like
That
to
is
give an
huge.
official apology to Matt Taylor for not liking your pit strategy, because it's never worked for me, and I think with the salty, it's never worked for me, but I'm glad it worked for you. Go win the
worked.
lottery or something at this point. You won the, you played a low
That
strategy
worked out
pit call
fantastic.
and it worked.
That is fantastic. Now the question is how many other drivers come down pit lane for free tires. Because if you're Solus, you're worried now. Because if most of it comes down and you stay out, you're kind of screwed. And you're going to see here, is this a chain reaction from Mauricio and Brandon Cruz? A little bit. Mauricio looks to the inside. Peleg's still washing out. I think it's still Peleg just washing out a little bit on the exit there. Mauricio was there. But definitely a little bit of a chain reaction as Mauricio was looking to the middle lane as Peleg was washing out.
It's just
And that's about as
same spot. It
really is.
That.
And you see that here in New Hampshire quite a bit. And obviously, you look at the pack that he's in. There's obviously several cars involved in this. Craig Lautenschlager, there's Brandon Cruz in the 20. Mauricio looks to the inside as Peleg's again. Peleg's taking the natural exit line out, and Mauricio's already unloaded. He's looking at Brandon Cruz and not at Peleg there. I can't pin that on anybody in particular. I think that, like, as you mentioned, just the cars going for the same real estate, especially the 40 and the 20 and the 48. Obviously, two phenomenal drivers in their own right going for the same real estate, not where they wanted to be traffic-wise. And you see the traffic on pit lane. Matt Taylor's gift is that most of the field came down pit lane.
Yeah, I think the 48 just assumed the car to his outside wasn't going to try and make that move. But there's one thing I stand by in racing. We all know what happens when you assume.
Yeah, absolutely. So most of the field comes down pit lane here. Dylan Roberts, one of the first cars leaving pit lane here. Obviously, some cars, I think, going for the fuel-only strategy because they were close on fuel with where they pitted. But not a bad effort at all here. And you see Matt Taylor still ahead of the 29 of Jose Solis Jr. 6th place, so he didn't lose a lot of spots there critically. And he has 4 fresh tires. Big gains for the 32 car. Again, you talk about it. It doesn't work for me very often either. I've never had this work for me at all.
Even if it does work,
long.
you still sit back in like 17th after pit stop cycle. But he's sitting here 6th.
Yeah.
Amongst one of the toughest fields you can go against in all of iRacing. This is incredible, and he is in a great spot to get a fantastic finish here.
Importantly, this shifts the balance of power in the field significantly. From Jose Solis Jr., it now goes to Dylan Roberts, Christian Budd, and Tyler Head. 3 other chase drivers now, 1, 2, and 3. So Jose Solis Jr. went from being the favorite to now having a lot of work to do. And there's 2 spoilers, actually 3 spoilers between him and those other 3, Larry Pace, Craig Lautenschlager, and Matt Taylor, all in that group. And now Solis has to deal with Jacob Potak again, because Potak's right there with me now.
And you feel like this is what always happens in these big-time races. The cream rises to the top. You see it in the NASCAR Championship 4 races where the Final 4 always seem to be in the top 4 at some point in the race, and it's no surprise to me to see the top 3 be all chase drivers.
Yeah, they are the most consistent of the group for a reason. Sean Peleg starting to the inside lane. He is a lap down to those that are wondering what that looks like. Traditional rules here in Winstel, single file for the lead lap cars, lap down cars will move towards the inside lane and move towards the front of the field here, sort of separately. And you're seeing that happen because Mo Perry's also making his way forward as well.
It's been a long time since we've seen a restart like this.
Yeah, we usually don't see lap cars to this measure. We usually don't see Sean Peleg as a lap down car. Race is under control of Dylan Roberts here, so he will control the restart. Christian Budd sitting in 2nd, started in 3rd here, so he's been consistently up near the front of the group. Green flag flies once again here in New Hampshire, and once again, You're seeing what it's going to look like here as they all fan out down in the turns 1 and 2. Solis Jr. did not have a great restart. He is under threat from Kotek, from Doucette, and 4 wide behind them. That is Champeau, Evan Locke, that is the 1 of Hernandez, and the 20 of Brandon Cruz. Still 4 wide down the back straightaway, and they eventually fan out because Champeau gets ahead. But teammates there battling in the 18 and 20, and the outside lane's on fire now.
This is not something you see a whole lot at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. 4 wide. In mine, I say in dry conditions, not like the real life time they did this. It is dry conditions, and they are wide at New Hampshire.
Contact between teammates Champeau and Cruz. And again, you mentioned 4 wide. I feel like I've been transported to Pocono with how they fanned out here, and it's still 4 wide, and they're still fanning out. Caution's in trouble. 49 degrees bomb also spins out. 3rd time that we're under caution, and that's Kyle Benson collecting Parker Alexander. Trouble there further up ahead. I'm trying to see who that is up ahead. I believe that might be Corey Cook, also that spun out there. But it started with Alexander bouncing off of one of the cars in that 4 wide extravaganza. Corey Cook was that other car that spun the 0 car, the net 0 machine. And we'll take a replay of that here in just a moment, but that was a wild couple laps, and this is where we enter the last stanza of the race. Less than 15 to go. This is where it could happen, and obviously further back here, this is where Andrew Griesbaum has his spin. These are 2 unrelated incidents. You see up further ahead, that's where Parker Alexander spins. Griesbaum has his issue on his own, but then obviously the issues there.
He got a little help from the car behind.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get some more onboards here, because now everything resets even more so, and that how that hurts Jose Solis Jr. because now he's even further back in the field, and he does get a little bit of help there from Corey Cook. And Corey Cook, does Corey Cook get any help? He does, off of the 39 Campbell.
Yeah, 0 decided he wanted 2 other people to spin that wreck.
Yeah, that is. Well, in fairness, you should be a lot slower there anyway, and Campbell also hadn't slowed down at all either. A lot of ARCA braking, I think you can attribute some of that to, especially with some of the contact here. This is Parker Alexander latency at the right time for Tyler Murray. Wrong time, though, for him to come back on the racetrack for Kyle Benson, who did not see him, and then there he is. And that doesn't look as bad for Benson.
If you're in the pack, they're behind, you're just like, please don't spin right, don't spin right, don't spin right, don't spin right, and that's exactly what he did. And yeah, Benson, in the initial replay, it looked pretty rough on the 38 there, but in his eyes, he probably just didn't even see him.
I mean, yeah, you're looking there, you see Alexander has a lot of latency there as he spins. He's out of the frame for a decent amount of it, and Kyle Benson just sitting there like, okay, maybe the coast is clear, and then it comes back. And then at this point, if you're Kyle Benson, even if you're slowed down, you can't just, we've seen this before, I think with Benson, you just can't slow down in time.
Yeah, I mean, because he was probably 4 car lengths by the time the 5 reappeared on his screen. Some blinker fluid really needed for that 5 car.
Yeah, and I think now a little bit more than just blinker fluid there, as he's going to have to come and get some repairs done. And you see
WD-40, and that car will be good to go.
Absolutely. With Jose Solis Jr. now sitting in 9th place. He's restarted. Remember, last restart he was 6th. He's lost 3 spots. Now in danger of potentially going outside the top 10. That was not a fun time period for Jose Solis Jr. He's got to be fuming behind the helmet. The real-life driver for that 29 car for so many years got the nickname Happy for a particular reason. I have a feeling Jose Solis Jr. is living up to that right now. I'd love to hear his radio communications, because that has got to be, he's got to be furious with where he's at right now. It had a chance, had the pathway to the race win pretty well paved for him, and now he's still behind the 32, but he's been passed by Nick Doucette, he's been passed by the 46 Jacob Potak, and now he's got to deal with Craig Lautenschlager, Larry Pace, Christian Budd, Tyler Head, who's now in 2nd place, another driver who's lost out a lot, Emily Howe there, 16th place from 7th on the grid. Not a great time period for some of these drivers.
Speaking of real life here real quick, we are dangerously close to what the actual top 10 was in the 2010 race at Loudon. 2nd place was the 17, 3rd was the 8, and back in 10th was the 29. So we are eerily close to what happened in the real race here.
Art imitates life sometimes here. We're going to see exactly how close we can get here. Obviously, Tyler Head sitting in 2nd place here, defending series champion. Not expected to be a full-on championship contender, just kind of playing spoiler at this point. But every race win counts. Obviously, you're going based off the Latford system. For those that don't know, that means 180 points for the race win. On top of the bonus points and everything, you kind of just work your way down the order from that point. Looking back, Tyler Head got some damage on the valence of the number 4 car. Got to keep that in mind as we go back racing here. Tyler Head using the chrome horn already in this race. Wow. Might have to do it again. Oh, Potack moves, Larry Pace, and there's Loudon on the wall. Huge contact to 1 and 2. 4th caution already, and we're getting dangerously close to overtime territory as we will have to rack them up and try again, and that's trouble. I believe Christina Ryan in the infield there. The 00 machine was pulling off there on the infield. I'm not sure if she was letting cars go by or if she got damaged in some way, shape, or form. Caution back out, though, for an incident there. Jacob Potack turning Larry Pace from the top 5 into the outside wall in front of Craig Laudenslager. Neither of them anywhere to go, and that ruins their races because they had an amazing race going on.
Yeah, and that was just a low percentage move by the 46 there. You've seen this on restarts here where people try to shoot it on the apron, but it doesn't stick. And the 46 found out that it doesn't stick, and he ruined 2 good drivers' races.
We're looking to see here what happened with Potack. I think this is Potack moving to the back of the field. So this was not Christina Ryan. This is Potack claiming his part of the incident, and actually, I think, towing himself out of the race for that incident. So I think he's raised his hand like, okay, that's on me. And he's taking himself out of the equation because he's just trying to go after Larry Pace. And Larry Pace, to his credit, doing a lot of blocking, trying to seal off that inside lane. Low percentage move, and low percentage move doesn't pay off there. And unfortunately, for Larry Pace, Craig Laudenslager.
Where unfortunately, he did just, the 46 decided to call it a race. That is one of those deals where you know you messed up. But you have to keep going forward and act like it didn't happen if you want an opportunity to win the race, and unfortunately he just couldn't do that.
Yeah, so that's unfortunate for him. Obviously that gives the 39 Zach Campbell the wave around here, so he will be on the lead lap once again. Remember, he lost a lap because of that speeding penalty that he had. So he's now got a chance to make up some spots again, being back on the lead lap, and now it's Tyler Head ahead of Dylan Roberts here. Remember, he had an amazing restart in 1 and 2, stayed it to the inside lane, didn't completely clear the 8 of Roberts, but when the caution came out, the 4 was ahead of the 8. So we're going to see what Tyler Head can do now at the front of the field. These are not the fastest cars that we've seen all day, but they are in the position to try to win this race, and there's not a lot of time left to go. We're approaching 2 laps to go. I do not believe this is going to count. Actually, it will count as attempts. This is the point of no return. Cool, we get to talk about this now. So, lights on the pace car. That means that we still have at least another lap of caution here. If the lights were off, that means we're going green at the end of this lap. We're not. So this is the point of no return. If a caution comes out on the restart lap, the race is over. We end under caution, very similar to Avian Champ Car rules. This is the point of no return, though, so this is very important. This restart of all restarts is the most important if you're going to try to make magic happen. Dylan Roberts did not have a great restart to defend from Tyler Head. Now he's going to try to return the favor here and try to get back to the front of the field because we don't know if we have another incident like we had it on that last restart here. This helps at Jose Solis Jr. because 3 cars are out of the way now. So he goes from almost outside the top 6. It's now being in the top 5. He's behind Nick Doucette and ahead of Matt Taylor. So a big opportunity now for Jose Solis Jr. to use that inside lane to his advantage. But again, time is now of the essence here as we get ready to see the overtime restart here. Green, white, checkered attempts the point of no return. As we mentioned here, this is where everything sort of happens. Here on out, the race will be official. It's a matter of finishing
the driver from the field. If you have seen these last few restarts go, that was a little aggressive, don't you think? You have not seen anything. This is about to be the most aggressive restart and the wild restart of the race because the win is on the line. It is do or die time for these drivers.
Especially for those in the playoffs and the chase for the Winstel Cup, which is everyone in the top 5. So big is the opportunity here at the Magic Mile. The pace car will take the left-hand turn into pit lane for potentially the final time.
Green, green, green.
What will we see here on this restart? Tyler Head, Dylan Roberts riding on board the 8 as he looks to the inside. Dylan Roberts has to move from the outside to the inside. Keep an eye on Jose Solis Jr., the 29. He looks below the apron, below the yellow line. Christian Budd from 3rd to 4th, maybe 5th, as they go out of turns 1 and 2, heading towards 3 and 4. Are they going to make it to the white flag lap with 1 lap to go? A little bit of lock up there in Lee Howe behind the 51 of Ryan Hill. They are going to come to the white flag lap. Coming to home, 1 lap to go here in New Hampshire. It's Tyler Head leading the field. Can he hold on to win the race? Dylan Roberts takes a peek. He's got 1 more opportunity after this. Down the back straightaway for the final time.
Got to override to the inside.
That is Brennan McGee into the inside wall. They stay green through 3 and 4 for the final time, headed for home. It will be the defending champion out of turn 4 first. He will come to the white flag. The checker flag waves. Tyler Head wins in Loudon over Dylan Roberts and Nick Doucette. Christian Budd rounds out the top 4. A wild turn of events here, but the defending champion starts the chase off with a race win here in New Hampshire. Matt Taylor rounds out the top 5 over Chris Champeau. Jose Solis Jr. lost 2 spots on the final lap, going for 5th, down to 7th ahead of Evan Locke. Brandon Cruz, the top 10 for him, and Tyler Murray rounds out the top 10. But you see there the 4 of Tyler Head, the part-time champion trying to defend his crown against all odds, begins the mountain climb with a race win in New England. He wins in New Hampshire to kick off his championship defense in style.
This is the best possible way you can start a chase, by getting a win. I don't want to hear that he's a part-time champion. If he's here, he is trying to run it back. And what a way to try to run it back, by bringing it home in a race where nobody saw the 4 coming. He was not up front until the very end. But I tell you what, Carmen, I would rather be lucky than good any day of the week.
Yeah, lucky than good obviously helps out a little bit here. Tyler Head, he's won these races just based on merit. He's outdriven the field so many times in his Winstel career. He's going to burn this car down to the ground here in Loudon. He's earned this one. Another race win belongs to the 4 crew in 2024. A fantastic drive for Tyler Head. Winner to kick off the chase for the Winstel Cup. He knows what it's like to win in these magic moments, and none are a lot more special than this. A race winner here in New England. What a race for him. And again, what a phenomenal battle there at the end there for Dylan Roberts. Tried everything he could to get around Tyler Head without moving him. Obviously, it's so easy to just bump and run and move the driver out of the way. Dylan Roberts obviously not wanting to be that physical there, taking the points that he had there and settling for 2nd place, because he does move into the championship lead here in New Hampshire. He takes the championship lead in a pretty aggressive manner going into the rest of the chase here. We'll hear from a podium finisher here in just a moment. Tyler Head, race winner over Dylan Roberts and Nick Doucette. Nick Doucette, what a good run for him as well. Didn't seem like he had all the pace either, but there when it mattered most. We'll hear from all 3 of them here momentarily. Let's see if we can pull up the top 10 of your results here, just so we can kind of pull that up in official view here. Tyler Head, Dylan Roberts, Nick Doucette, Christian Budd, and Matt Taylor, your top 5. A good run for Matt Taylor. Again, bailed out by that strategy call. 15 laps to go. Caution comes out, saves him from going down outside the top 10, stays in the top 5 here. A good run for him ahead of Chris Champeau. Jose Solis Jr. from favorite to win this race. A bad caution at the most inopportune time eventually cost him a chance at the race win here. Evan Locke, a good top 10 finish for him after starting in the top 10. Brandon Cruz makes his way top 10 side after spending a good chunk of the final stanza 4 wide. He makes the most of it, top 10 there for him. And Tyler Murray, a good top 10 finish, a rare top 10 for that 33 team that is not running full time. A good, feel-good effort here for Tyler Murray and that crew as well in the top 10. We'll start and talk to our 3rd place finisher here, Nicholas Doucette, who does a fantastic job moving up into the chase running order and keeping those championship positions close here. Nick Doucette, this is Carmen from the AVN booth. You got a copy?
I hear you.
What a drive. Obviously, a wild race here in New Hampshire. 3rd place for you after a wild final 15 laps there. Walk us through everything you were dealing with in this race. We were promised a lot of lanes, a lot of different moving opportunities, and we got all of that and then some. Your perspective on all of that, and obviously walking away with the podium tonight.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm I'm pretty happy with getting a podium. Not very happy with myself choosing the wrong strategy there on that pit stop and that caution. I had the tires clicked off for. I was just going to take right sides. That was the plan all along. I was going to take 2 tires, and then as soon as I got in my box, I heard someone in the chat say that they had taken 2 previously, and they don't recommend it. But I completely forgot that I had only like 5-10 lap old left sides, so it would have still been the correct strategy. So when I saw all the 2 tires go out, I was quite frustrated with myself. I thought I'd thrown the race. Because as I'm pretty sure we all suspected, it got crazy, and it did. But I was able to take advantage of those restarts. The 2 tire folks, a lot of them were spinning their tires. I was able to get a good launch, pitch my car down on the straightaway, pass a few, get myself in position to pass a few cars, and yeah, I'm just happy I was able to get myself back to where I assume I was probably going to finish in 3rd place. I don't think I was going to ever have a chance for what would have been Jose and Potak. So I'll take finishing 3rd. It would have been nice to get past Tyler and Dylan if I could have, but I just ran out of laps.
Obviously, this helps out the start of the chase being tonight here. Obviously, a 3rd place helps you out significantly. It really closes up the gap there at the front of the field for you. Obviously, the chase is going to be a bit of a who's who, a lot different in terms of just where we're going to be sitting now with 7 races to go in the season here. We look at the next race here. We look at Dover, another difficult race, another tire eater as far as the races go. A phenomenal run here. What does that mean for you going through Dover? And then after that, Talladega here. Obviously, Dover in 2 weeks, Talladega in 3 weeks' time.
I'm just going to hope to get another good finish at Dover, try to just collect as many points as I can, because Talladega, I'm not even going to give a comment on that, because who's to say what's going to happen. I'm just going to try and get a good enough finish at Dover. Practice, like I told you guys last week, I'm just going to practice as much as I can, join the setup development servers, try to create or I guess give feedback on what would be a great racing setup, and ultimately it'll give us hopefully it'll put on a great show. But yeah, just try to get as many points as you can heading into Talladega, so I can probably lose them all.
I got one more last question for you. Obviously, we've seen a lot of different races here at New Hampshire over the years. This race being the more wild ones, what was the racing like here for you? Was it enjoyable having all the different lanes that you could run, being able to sort of adjust your car during the run? Obviously, this race typically a 1-lane groove. Was this probably one of the better experiences at New Hampshire, just as a driving standpoint for you?
Yeah, it was a great race. I mean, I was up front for a lot of it, so I might have had a different perspective if I was running, say midfield, surrounded by a lot of cars. But the battles that I did have, especially early on in the race when I was trying to chase down Jose and Potak, it was interesting to see the lines that they were running versus the line that I was running, because I was not able to position my car in the way that they were positioning their cars. We had practiced last night, and I felt very, I guess, confident in how the setup drove and how the race was going to be today. And then we enter the server tonight, and I can sit here right now and tell you that the setup, something was off. I don't know if it was just myself or if maybe there was a setting in last night's server, but the car just didn't drive as good as I thought it had driven last night. But it was of no one's fault, really. I mean, in real life, you don't expect the weather to be constant throughout a whole weekend, so that's just part of racing. But it was a great event. I mean, there was a lot of passing opportunities, a lot of different braking points, a lot of different lines to go into the corner. So I hope that you all enjoyed it, and I hope the fans enjoyed the event, because it was definitely a really good race and a really great setup.
Honestly, I think a wild race. It's hard not to enjoy a race like that. Obviously, we had a little bit of everything there. We had some green flag pit stops. We had a lot of different lines being run here tonight. And again, for you, a great way to start off the chase, just kind of getting some points there and closing up towards the top of that running order here. Before we let you go and enjoy the off week next week, if there's anyone to shout out and say thank you to, the floor is yours. A phenomenal job, P3 here in New Hampshire, a phenomenal run, and the Monster Mile coming up next.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say once again, thanks to everyone over at Winstel that makes this happen. We obviously can't put on a great show and have a great series without them. Whether it's the admin crew, to the setup developers, which is mostly Emily. She puts on a great setup. all you folks for putting on a great broadcast. And I know he's working tonight, but I'll continue the trend and I'll say hi to Ryan Gain.
Fantastic job here, Nick Doucette. P3 here at the Magic Mile with the Monster Mile up next in 2 weeks' time. Let's see if we can get that 24 even more podiums. Maybe a couple more race wins. You've already got 2 this season. A couple more would help you out phenomenally in that chase for the Winstel Cup. Enjoy the podium.
Thanks.
That was Nick Doucette, the 3rd place finisher here tonight. We'll go ahead and move on to Dylan Roberts. I believe Blake Henderson's got Dylan Roberts alongside him at this point.
Blake, this is Dylan and AB in booth. You got a copy? 13th to 2nd, one of the hardest tracks to pass in the Winstel schedule. How did you make that climb in today's race?
Honestly, I was worried about it. I didn't feel super confident passing like a lot of people did. I just couldn't quite get the rotation down low. I just didn't have the brake feeling that some other guys had. So I kind of was in a position where I had to save tires through that first run, kind of try and make my way up slowly. And just the way that last caution fell there, it was close enough to the pit stop. I felt like I could take 2 and probably, even if I was slower than the 4 tire guys, I would still be ahead of where I was pitting from. And I didn't expect to come out first on that pit stop. That was really lucky. And then from then it's, those 2 restarts in track position, and Tyler was just a little bit better. I wish that last caution hadn't come out when it did. He got the lead, and I just didn't have anything for him there at the end, but really happy with 2nd.
Speaking on those rapid-fire restarts to end this race, you finished 2nd. What more could you have done to take home the victory tonight?
That's a great question. That last caution there, I would have needed to be ahead, I think, on that final restart. I don't think I could have passed Tyler without really roughing him up, and I'm not going to do that. I don't like to race that way, and Tyler is one of my favorite people to race around. And I mean, just a lot of hard racing. Tyler's fast. Having those 4 tires behind me, but on the same strategy, it's hard to, it's easy to look back and say I should have done this, I should have done that, but in reality, I think 2nd was where we were going to shake out after that last one came out, best case.
Going into the rest of the chase, you are unofficially the championship leader. Can you do what your real-life counterpart in Dale Earnhardt Jr. couldn't do and bring home a championship to the Budweiser team?
Well, I certainly hope so. I mean, 5-6-year-old me was devastated back in 2004, so it'd be nice to rewrite that bit of history, but I think that it's just as likely that I have a spectacular falling apart, just like it's just like the real year. So just hopefully take the momentum. We got some hard tracks coming up. It's just hopefully I have the speed I've had this year, and hopefully I can get some good qualifying and stay out of some trouble.
An excellent P2 finish for you, Dylan, championship leader. Who makes it work for the Budweiser crew?
Oh, just huge shout out to everybody behind the league. Emily for the setup building, everybody behind the scenes. Tyler, he used to do a bunch of stuff. He's still in the mix a little bit. You got Bud, you got Brennan, you got Bates, you got everybody, Phil. I mean, I see the work that goes on behind the scenes. It's nice to have these races here every Sunday, and they don't happen without that group of people. So it's just fantastic. And shout out to anybody I raced around tonight. I mean, that was a lot of fun battling, a lot of hard racing. I know Larry and Potak there got together at the end. That's tough. Those 2 are 2 great racers that are always fun to race with, and you hate to see the competition go out like that. You want to beat them on the track normally.
Congratulations on your 2nd place finish, Dylan.
Thank you very much.
Carmen, I believe you're going to get the winner of tonight's race at the Magic Mile.
Absolutely. We got Tyler Head alongside of us here tonight. A race winner to kick off the chase from the last driver into the chase. Now firmly in the mix. Obviously defending champion. We said this before. Didn't think you'd be in contention here, not running the full 8 races of the chase. But moments like this make you think, maybe more race wins make it possible. Tyler, walk us through that race. A phenomenal race win. Kind of just fell right in the right spot at the right time.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes for me if I'm going to win one of these things, is just having a little bit of luck and not doing anything to beat myself, while other people either, have something happen to them, or just, have the RNG of a pit stop go against them or something like that. Or in the case of this one, I got a gift there when that last caution came out, getting the lead over Dylan. I felt pretty good about my opportunity to try to pass him, stuff it in on the bottom and see if we can make something stick, whether it was that one or the point of no return restart. But I ended up inheriting the lead based on just whatever the sim saw with the timing there. So that made the prospect from the rest of it there a lot easier Not that anything's really easy to do when you got a field like this that's full of talented people. But yeah, I'm really happy. Not even because of winning, just that was a really fun race from where I was sitting. The long green flag run, everybody having picked different times to pit, having different amounts of tire wear. It was really exciting and just fun to be able to slice through the field and make up spots and really use the whole entire racetrack. This was a lot of fun tonight.
Obviously, we talk about how just against the grain this race in New Hampshire was compared to races we typically see. Typically, we see single lane and it's all strategy based. We got a little bit of everything. We got multiple lanes. We got a lot of passing going on here tonight. Obviously, green flag pit stops. We had the calamity there at the end of the race with those back-to-back restarts there for you. Where does this rank as far as like your New Hampshire races that you've had in your experience? And obviously, you talk about obviously not being full-time and missing races. Obviously, you missed 5 races in the regular season. You're expected to miss more just based off how scheduling is going to fall for you. Being able to play sport like this, does it give you hope going into races, like Dover, if you can attend that being more of the same, Talladega being so up in the air, that more of these races could fall your way and that you could possibly defy those odds?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start by saying the odds have improved because you can't drop the championship finale, and as of a few weeks ago, I was going to have to work during the championship finale. That has changed, so the odds have improved a little bit for me. But really just looking at it from a race-by-race basis, this New Hampshire race, I wouldn't be able to cite one that was more fun from behind the wheel that I've been a part of, just because of what we just discussed, being able to use the whole racetrack, really fighting to put the power down and having a bunch of different options to try to do that, not having just one line that you had to run and perfect to be able to make that happen. So that was a lot of fun. And as far as the races that are coming up, whichever ones I'm able to make, I like my odds to be in the mix and, try to either assert myself early or steal one late, like kind of happened tonight, because we have a really great group of people that race here. There's not a lot of leagues that you're going to have this high quality talent, and you're going to have the amount of respect that's needed to be able to have long green flag runs and have wheel-to-wheel racing like we tend to see. So that makes me excited for a Dover next week, which can be a tumultuous racetrack, but we've had good shows there in the past. A Talladega, and on and on and on. There's not a place that we go to that I don't think we can have a fun time.
Well, we're going to find out here as we see further on in the chase. Again, Dover, the next round, and then Talladega. It is a gauntlet to start off the chase. But you start off the chase here in New Hampshire with a race win here at the Magic Mile. A magic moment for the 4 crew. Before we let you go and let you celebrate that race win and everything that comes with it, if there's anyone else you want to shout out and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Again, a phenomenal race win. I believe that's your 4th of the season, if I'm not mistaken, and a well-earned one for Car 4.
Yeah, I just, I say it every time, but want to thank everybody that puts in a whole bunch of time Monday through, Sunday late evening to make these races happen. That's the admin team: Christian Budd, Brennan McGee, Philip Snipes, Alex Bates, Dylan Roberts, Emily Howe, making fantastic setups that make a place like New Hampshire that can be kind of one note actually a lot of fun. And then, of course, everybody else that chooses to show up and race with us and race with the respect and with the competitiveness that they do. This wouldn't be as much fun as it is without all that.
Actually, I think I agree with that one. A phenomenal show of force here for the Winstel crew. Tyler Head leading the field to the checkered flag winner here in Loudon. Tyler, enjoy the race win, and hopefully we get to see that 4-car victory lane a couple more times here in the chase for the Winstel Cup. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
That was Tyler Head, your race winner here in New Hampshire. A phenomenal run for the 4 crew here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. What a spectacle we had here in Loudon. It raced a lot like a champ car race here at New Hampshire. It just seems so wild to me that we got the racing we got here tonight. Let's see if we can get some live up-to-date points here. Again, we talk about provisionally. We think Dylan Roberts was there, and we see it's still a bit of a graphics issue there for the 8 of Dylan Roberts. But Dylan Roberts is going to be the unofficial points leader here. He entered 5 points behind Christian Budd entering this race. Obviously, Dylan Roberts would have led laps. Christian Budd did not. So bonus points goes in the hands of Dylan Roberts' favor there. Dylan Roberts also finishes 2 spots ahead of Christian Budd, so he'll move up the order. Obviously, Tyler Head finishing in the race lead. He moves up into the top 5 in the points after a phenomenal performance here in New Hampshire. Christian Budd still sits second. Nick Doucette closes in as well. Bit of a fall from grace there for Brennan McGee, Parker Alexander, and Sean Palig involved in late incidents there in the race. Emily Howe stays about where she sits into this race, 4th place of points, moved down a couple spots, down in 6th, but still very much in the mix with 7 races to go. Again, Dover in 2 weeks' time, an off week for the Winstel crowd here next week. We'll go back to the Monster Mile here in 2 weeks' time, and then after that, Talladega. For everyone that tuned in tonight, you're going to want to tune in even more so right here on ABN Esports 1. Tomorrow night, it is the HTL Cup Series from Rockingham. It's going to be a lot of fun there. Tuesday night, it's the HTL Hammerdown Truck Series from the Daytona Road Course. That's Monday and Tuesday. Tomorrow and Tuesday. Here's again your run through the order. Tyler Head, we heard from him. We heard from Dylan Roberts and Nick Doucette, the podium finishers here in New Hampshire. Christian Budd, Matt Taylor, Chris Champeau, Jose Solis Jr., and Evan Locke, your top 8. Brandon Cruz and Tyler Murray, your top 10. A phenomenal race for some of those drivers. Matt Taylor, what a gamble that paid off for him. Ryan Hill, a good result for him. He was in the top 10 mix most of this race. Just outside the top 10 is where he finishes in 11th. A good gain of positions there for Jonathan Hernandez ahead of Inley Howell, Alex Bates, Philip Snipes, Jesse Nekula, Gabriel Mauricio, Jeffrey McClintock, Andrew Griesbaum. A good recovery for him after being involved in the first caution of the race and having another caution later on. 19th place is where he recovers ahead of Sean Palig, who has a really bad race here in the Magic Mile. Parker Alexander having damage, could only muster a 21st place finish ahead of Corey Cook. Zach Campbell recovering from that speeding penalty. What could have been is going to be the race for him. In that 23rd position, Corey Steinhauser, Ken Huff. Brendan McGee down a lap down after heading the wall on the last restart. Could not make it to the finish. Larry Pace, 27th. Mo Perry, 28th. Both of them 1 lap down. Steve Brown and Craig Lautenschlager, your top 30. 2 more drivers at the end of this race. Jacob Potak did not finish the race. Neither did Kyle Benson. Those 2 cars out of the race very early on in this event. Again, a wild turn of events. Again, next Winstel race right here on ABN Esports 1, 2 weeks' time as we head to the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware. Tomorrow night, it's HTL Cup Series action, 8 p.m. Eastern on ABN Esports 1. Me and Blake Henderson will be in the track in our cars on that race. It'll be Kevin Young and Christina Ryan in the booth for that race tomorrow. Blake Henderson's will be back in the booth with Eli Sasek. Not with Eli Sasek, with Kevin Young on Tuesday for the HTL Hammerdown Truck Series at Daytona Road Course. No ABN Champ Car race on Wednesday on ABN Studios on YouTube. We will have the HTL Champ Car Light Series on Thursday from Gateway. So that's the next week in advance for everyone tuning in here on ABN Esports 1. On behalf of my co-commentator Blake Henderson, the producer Amity Polsatrix, everyone here for ABN and Winstel, the Winstel Cup Series, and all of its partners, I'm Carmen Sienna. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow night at Rockingham. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, have some fun. We'll see you next time. From Rockingham, signing off.